We're doing a test run, guys, just so you know. We're doing a test run. Hi. We will be doing a test run. Good morning. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome. Good morning. We are doing a test run to be sure that we can both hear, we can both see, that there's no audio issues. Good morning. Hi, guys. So just so you know, this is a test run. Test run. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. 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 So yeah, we're doing a test run to be sure that we have all things working correctly so that we don't have any issues or concerns or situationships for our live this morning. So we are doing what are we testing? It's Real Talk with Lindsay today. So we're testing her coming on live to be sure that we have both screens up, that we can both hear, that we can both see, and we can get this going for you guys. Good morning. Good morning. Hi, Crystal. Hi, guys. So I hit host, so hopefully that will work. Yeah, this morning is going to be Real Talk with Lindsay. So go ahead and settle in, get yourself some drinks and some snacks, and we're going to have a chat this morning. Good morning, Donna. Hi, guys. Welcome. Good morning, Valerie. Hi, guys. Yeah, so let's go ahead and share this out. We're not sure if I have to do host or guest, so we're trying to figure that out. I made sure that I have my phone muted because I have been known to be distracted, and that's not a good thing when you're having a conversation with somebody else. Usually when I'm by myself, it doesn't matter, but you know, it is what it is. Claudia is very squirrely. But good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Good morning and happy Friday. Trying to check. Lindsay has not gone live yet. Oh, there it is. Okay, I'm going to invite her and see if this gives us a side scene. No, see, it puts her in the bottom box. I don't want that. Don't want her in Lindsay, I don't want you in that bottom box. That's not what I know. That's not what we're going to do. So this doesn't. So basically what I did was invited you, and I don't know if you requesting actually gives us the split screen.
Okay, I'll
So
request.
we will try. Okay. So we're going to make sure she's out and disconnect. Okay, so I've disconnected with her. Gosh. We will get this, guys. We will figure this out. I promise. I promise, promise, promise. And it's funny because I think I saw her wearing red and I'm wearing green. So we're in Christmas colors. Yay. So let's see if I get a request. Because we don't want her in the bottom corner. I want her side by side with me. Thanks for sharing, guys. See, this is why we do a few minutes beforehand, just to be sure that we can get all the kinks worked out before we start our conversation. So this is why we do this. Okay, so she's gone live. All right. Yes. Yes. What did you do? Because that worked.
Okay, so I went live,
Okay.
and then I sent you an invite as a guest.
Perfect. Yes. Hi, good morning, everybody. Go ahead and share us out, guys. We're going to just sit here and basically just, let everybody get on. And in a few minutes, we'll start our chat. Just getting down to the basics, but make sure that you guys are respectful, that you are patient with us, that you give us grace. We're asking for grace. And yeah, just enjoy your time here. Grab your coffees, grab your snacks, grab your kiddos, grab some people that, what's glitching? I don't
I'm
see
good
any
on my
glitching,
end.
Annette. Go ahead and go out and come back in, Annette, and see if that fixes it. Anybody else glitching? Better now, okay. Just give it a couple of minutes. Usually it settles in. How's the sound, Lindsay? Are you good?
Sounds great for me. Everyone
Okay.
on my end, are you guys hearing me okay? Teresa, I'm not going to be making anything today. Today is a special day. Claudia has offered to ask me questions on her Real Talk. So I'm joining Claudia's Real Talk. She tries to do this every Friday from 11 to 1. And she's had Justin with Green Wreath, and I'm on today. And I'm going to let her share if she has others planned in the future. But we're going to be talking about some of the things that people had asked questions about on my Facebook post and my TikTok page, and see where it goes.
Yeah, so I'm interviewing Lindsay on my Real Talk today, basically having a conversation about all things live creators, businesses, and all of that kind of stuff that we do here on TikTok. So Lindsay's today. Next Friday, it'll just be me because it's Black Friday. Didn't want to have to try to coordinate that with anybody. But the following Friday, December 1st, we have Laurel from Laurel's Designs joining me. So she's coming on for Real Talk with me. So I'm super excited about that. And if you don't know Laurel, she is based out of Florida. She's a wonderful designer. She makes attachments for her wreaths. She's super creative, and I'm really looking forward to my Puerto Rican friend joining me here on December 1st. And then on December 8th, I have Greg and Michelle from Creek Road Designs joining me for Real Talks on December 8th. So definitely be paying attention. Definitely, I will be posting about it so everybody's reminded and knows that that is what we are doing here. Basically getting to know the creators and designers that you guys follow and watch on a regular basis. And not only that, but getting some insight into our businesses and how we run things and why we do what we do. Because it's typically not what we talk about during our lives, because during our lives, Lindsay, for example, is working with her clients during her lives. So a lot of the conversations that she has is geared more towards that, towards the design, towards doing things for her customer, her client. That is what her lives are geared towards. So this is an opportunity to basically have a talk with Lindsay, let her share her passion, her love for her business and for her clients and customers, and also for the wreath community. So that is why I've started doing this. So that's why we're here. So it's going to be fantastic, wonderful. Just so you guys know, because of the way that it's set up, we haven't quite figured out how to have the chat be in the same place. So any questions that you ask on this side, I will absolutely read and try to convey them to Lindsay. However, there are certain questions that A, I might not see, or B, I'm not comfortable asking her, but if you so choose, you can pop over to Lindsay's and she will go through, and anything that she feels is comfortable for the community at large. Understand that we are doing this as a community. She will answer. But anything else, I mean, if you seriously want to know something, if you really, really are truly coming from a good place and concern and whatever, you can message her. You can message her. Some things just need to stay private. So just understand that and be respectful, kind, and willing to basically cheer us on. That's basically what we're here for, is to basically cheer everybody on. I am not going to have any music or any type of distraction going on in the background. Lindsay was kind enough to share with me that apparently it comes through and you can't really hear people talking. So I didn't know that. So now that I know that, I will be sure to be aware of that and not do that. It was more of a comfort for me, I think, to be honest. It's more of a comfort background noise for me. Hi, Mary. Hi, guys. Welcome, welcome. All right, so I've got about 23 viewers over here. I'm sure you've got plenty more over there, Lindsay. I'm
Oh,
positive you do.
we're about 87 people, but it's been shared over 100 times. So thank you so much, guys. Thank you,
Yeah,
thank you, thank you.
I've got 108 shares going on too. It's fantastic. Fantastic. So we've
Wow.
got about 5 minutes. So guys, go ahead and get yourself something to drink. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask me over here. And if it's not something that I've already got coming up, I will be sure to try to incorporate that during our conversation. So, yeah, 108 shares. You guys are nuts. I love you. Hi, Justin. Hi, guys. But yeah, go ahead and let me know if there's anything that you would like to know about Lindsay's business, about her wholesaler, maybe. Maybe we can talk about her wholesaler a little bit.
Hi,
Maybe, who
Kelly.
knows? You know, but if you
Kelly,
have any questions that you want me to incorporate into our conversation, just let me know.
Kelly wants to know if we coordinated the red green shirt, and we didn't.
We didn't, but I did notice that when you popped into my square, I even mentioned it. I'm like, oh my gosh, she's wearing red and I'm wearing green. How fantastic is that? But we did not
Well,
coordinate, although we could lie.
yeah,
But we don't
no,
do that. We don't
no,
lie.
no. It actually got really cold here overnight in Oklahoma. So, and my house is really cold, and my business is in the second story of our home. And the second story, even though heat rises, I feel like it's always colder up here, but we don't heat up here. So I had to get nice and cozy,
Ah,
and I'm
that
drinking
makes
lots of
sense.
hot tea too.
Oh, so we're going to be seeing winter wear. We're going to be seeing
Yeah.
a lot of winter wear. Okay, gotcha. So Cindy from Timbercraft says she's listening to this while getting her eyebrows done. She wasn't going to miss it. So
Oh,
meanwhile, she's getting her eyebrows done and listening to us chit chat. All right, guys, we
thank
got
you.
about 3 more minutes because I want to stay true to the time because I know a lot of people set an alarm and I don't want them missing the beginning of the conversation because we don't want to repeat ourselves. We're just going to go into this kind of seamlessly. We're going to let Lindsay introduce herself and such. But
Nina on mine
yeah, yeah.
is asking who you are. So if anyone watching from my live doesn't know, this is Claudia with Claudia's Decor and More. Please give her a follow. Please give her a follow. She has so graciously been willing to host me on her Real Talk. She does this every Friday from 11 to 1, and she has several other guests lined up. So if you guys aren't giving Claudia a follow, please do so. She's bringing some honesty and awareness, and maybe the things that everyone in this community feels, but maybe might not feel comfortable talking about it. And sometimes when we're able to talk about the things that make us uncomfortable, we realize that we're not alone, and that's what helps grow this community, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. So Nicole is watching during her vacation in Ireland.
Hey, Nicole.
That's kind of fantastic. Hi, Amber. Mary says hello. And
Hello.
Kathy of Kathy Crazy Eights is sitting in the vet watching. I'm telling you, it's so funny because people have often said, hey, I'm going to miss it, or why don't you put this on Facebook? Well, right now we're keeping it to this where you have to watch live in order to participate because you know what? There's a lot of topics that we bring up sometimes that really people don't want to, they don't want to put themselves out there like that. Does that make sense? So until we get this more regular and maybe even like we could turn it into a podcast eventually, this is where it's going to stay. It's just going to stay TikTok Fridays, 11 to 1 Central Time. And I will have different people coming and joining me to have a conversation. So I'm watching the clock. I'm watching the clock. So as people join in, hi, Candy. Hi, guys. Mary's getting her roots done right now. I'm telling
Nice.
you. I'm telling you. You know what I told? Okay, so really quick Courtney said, I'm going to miss it. And I hate that I'm going to miss it. And I looked at her and I said, well, if you really wanted to do it, you could just put an earbud in. You could just listen. And she goes, Claudia, people come to me for therapy. I'm like, I get it. I get it. All right, guys, it's 11 o'clock. Welcome, welcome to Real Talk with Claudia. We have Lindsay from Tarnation Creations. God, Tarnation Creations, not Carnations. Oh my gosh. Tarnation Creations here joining me for some real talk. So we're going to talk to Lindsay about all things business related. We're going to dive into a few things about how she runs her business, a few things that you guys shared with her on her posts. Guys, you guys had lots of struggles, concerns, situations that you wanted to talk about and hear about her perspective. So that's what we're here for. So Lindsay, go ahead and do your introduction with your location, where to find you, where to contact you. So go ahead and let's start with that.
Okay. If any of y'all don't know, thanks so much for joining today. My name's Lindsay. I'm the owner and designer of Tarnation Creations. I've been in business for 4 years. I make all sorts of things for your home or for loved ones that hopefully will bring joy. And I'm located in Oklahoma. I sell primarily custom orders, but the way that you can reach me is through here on TikTok or on Facebook or via email, which is really simple to remember, tarnationcreations@yahoo.com. I'm not on Etsy or Shopify. You won't find me anywhere there. I keep my business very organic because that's what works for me. So that's where you can find me. And yeah.
Fantastic. All right. So you already touched on one of our topics, which is why don't you use Etsy?
So when I first started my business, and I shared about this in a video on my TikTok and on Facebook yesterday, but when I started it, I knew that I wanted to only do custom work. Now, over the period of 4 years, that's changed just a slight little tiny bit. I now do occasional designer choice nights, but I chose not to go on Etsy or Shopify because for me, I really wanted to do something that was different because, you may be shopping for a certain style wreath and it may not be on Etsy or Shopify, or you may not want to scroll for hours trying to find just what's in your home. And so instead I thought, why not try to offer something different? And now there's nothing wrong with being on Etsy or Shopify. I just want to make sure that's very clear. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me and the way I wanted to run my business, I knew for me that wouldn't really be conducive because there are fees associated. And I really wanted to keep my price point where my clients can come back and buy more wreaths from me. So that's why I chose to do it the way that I chose to do it.
So that leads into custom, right. So that leads into custom orders and working within your customers' budgets. So if somebody gives you a budget, because I've had people give me a budget and my eyes, I'm like, that's going to be the cost of supplies alone. So how do you guide a customer from their desire, like they want like this, to make it more in line with the budget, what they're able to spend? How do you do that?
Sure. And I know exactly what you're saying. I've had people come to me and say, well, my budget is $50 or 50 cookies. And then I have to address that and say, unfortunately, that's not something that I can do. I'm genuinely sorry. But the cost of supplies are increasing more and more all the time, every day. Thank you, Erin. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you so much for those comments, guys. So people may not understand that, these aren't items for me and my orders. These are not items that I get from the Dollar Tree usually. They are higher end products, especially when we talk about ribbons or florals. And so sometimes there is a little bit of customer education. And if the customer is willing to receive that, okay, here's an example between, a $70 wreath versus a $150 wreath. Because I get messages like that all the time. They want a big swag that I've done for a client that had a larger budget, but they want it done, you know, a fraction of the cost. Now that's not always going to be possible, but I do try to show here's what I can do with your budget. But my minimum, and that is a change that I've started in my business because of things like that. My minimum, there is a baseline for me in that discussion with my clients, because you have to consider time, you have to consider your work, your worth too. And then if you're doing what I'm doing on TikTok, you know, the ability to make changes, that's a whole nother factor too, that's not offered with a lot of other creators. I'm seeing it pop up more and more, but because of the ability to make changes, there has to be a little bit of understanding that flexibility is also going to have a bit of a price too.
And
Yes.
when you tell the customer, it's going to be a little bit more for this. Okay, now that makes sense. See, a lot of us that watch Lindsay now understand the lingo. When we know the thought process behind, because she's already had the conversation with the customer, guys. She's already had the base conversation. She's already done that. So what we get to see is when she does the this or the this. This is what we talked about, but I'm thinking this might be really good. So that's what we're watching when we watch Lindsay. Lindsay, we've got a couple of comments. Kelly says, we love the designer's choice nights, allows us to snag up one of Lindsay's visions. Okay. And then it's Michelle from Timber and Tool. Is it a matter of explaining this as an investment piece that's going to last due to quality? Is that how you talk to your customers? It's an investment that they're making.
Personally, I don't I don't use that phrasing because sometimes I feel like when someone says that, it for me personally, like I've heard that when I was planning my wedding, and I heard that a lot. It's an investment in your wedding. Well, you know, sometimes there's a little bit of pressure that goes along with that phrase, because that's not true. If we're being fully honest.
Right.
I don't like that, because an investment is buying your home. An investment is one day selling your home and getting a return profit on that. An investment on purchasing a wreath, you're not going to resell, or I hope you're not going to resell it. You're not going to get a return on your investment. So I don't like that, because I already think that's a little confusing and misleading. I view as an investment as something that you're going to get a return on financially.
That's a fantastic point. That is really a fantastic, because, you know, we do watch several people, right? So we do learn, right? Terminology, wording, and sometimes it could lead us down a wrong path where it's putting the customer more of in a different mindset. So that's a great point. And thank you for the question. And Lindsay, thank you for your answer. Martha Simpson says, Lindsay's designs are classy, beautifully made. And then Amber agreed. She says, smart point. And then Stacy's creation, all the questions in regards to being scared to go live. Will take any tips and advice. Thank you. Okay. Creations by Stacy, that's part of our conversation. So just hold on. Just grab a snack, grab a drink, and we're riding that way. We'll get there. All right. So staying with the customer, designing for the customer, how does that continue to evolve for you? Like, are you constantly changing with how you're working with the customers, especially during a live?
Yeah. So, I mean, that's changed and I think every business has to be able to adapt to change. Because before I was doing TikTok, it was just purely a message. I would message the client photos, they would agree, I would design the wreath, I'd send them a photo of the wreath. But then when I went on TikTok, over the last year, and it has been a journey, it has been a roller coaster ride. You have to be able to ride the highs, and you have to be able to ride the lows, right? And so I've learned that I had to create a custom order form now, to prevent some of that back and forth. I am still using email communication, but that way it doesn't clog up so many of my messages. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thank you so much for your comment. Thank you, Lee. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Sorry, folks are just commenting on the
No, you're
last
fine.
segment.
You're fine.
So so yeah, and it will probably continue to evolve. It will continue to evolve, and I don't know what that looks like. I'm riding that roller coaster and seeing where it's going to take me. So I think the only thing I can really truly honestly touch about that is being flexible and seeing where this journey is going to go. It could go and do great things. It could end tomorrow. So I think that ability to be flexible and adaptable is all that I could say to take away from that.
Here's a comment that was made by Crystal that is true to how you come across, okay? Lindsay always makes it so easy and has a special way in making you feel confident in your choices. Wow. That says a lot. That's coming from somebody who's a customer and who has had that experience, because you know what? We all have different tastes. We all have things that we like, things that speak to us. We don't have to agree with each other. But as a designer and the professional that Lindsay is, she is teaching, I'll speak for myself because I can't speak for but she is teaching me that listening to your customers' requests and putting your own spin on it. I'm seeing ribbon now, Lindsay. You flipped the
Sorry.
camera.
I
You're
don't know what
fine.
happened. I'm
It's
so
okay, but
sorry.
your ribbon wall looks great. But as a wreath maker and watching Lindsay and learning, I'm learning how, even if it's not something that personally I would put in my home, doesn't mean that I can't create something beautiful for somebody else. And that's a magic. That is a magic. When your customer gets emotionally attached because you made the vision in their head come to life, that's a connection. That's a connection, and it's emotional. Okay, so going back to another question that I had written down. So, how do you grow your client base when you don't have an online shop where people can go see your designs? How do you continuously grow that?
Yeah, yeah. That was how I started my business. It was just purely word of mouth. It was purely word of mouth. I started with friends and family, coworkers, and then it started branching out into my community. So you have to figure out how, if you choose to do what I did, and you have to decide what's gonna be best for you. And keep in mind, this was 4 years ago. So depending on where you're at in that journey, it may take 2 years, 3 years. It may take that period of time. So because it is being organically grown, and that takes time. TikTok and Instagram and Facebook Lives, those are going to grow faster. I'll be very honest. Those are going to grow faster. I wanted to grow my community here locally first, and that's how I chose to do it. So that would be my suggestion, is to try to grow your community locally first.
Okay. So, staying in line with questions that have been asked, um, how comfortable are you sharing your pricing strategy? Like, high-end ribbon versus, I wouldn't call it value ribbon, but ribbon that's not as expensive. Like, do you do a formula? Do you, how do you price that out for your customer, and include growing, because you have to include in the prices, guys. Remember, you have to include your business, because you are spending money on your business. Like, you have to keep putting money into your business. And then you guys have seen a lot of people say you have to be very careful. You may not be paying yourself for the first few years until your business is, to the point where you can pay yourself. So that's also a commitment. But let Lindsay explain to you how she does her pricing, and she's going to share as comfortable as she can. She's not going to, she's figured it out for herself, guys, and we all have to figure it out for ourselves. So she will share what she's comfortable sharing.
So if you're talking about pricing when it comes to because like I said, the majority of my customers are custom orders. They guide me in the pricing. So if their budget is higher, I pull higher quality supplies. If their budget is a little bit lower, I pull the supplies that will match that budget. Now, if we're so that answers the question about customs. Very, very easy. My client guides that. But if we're talking about when I do a designer's choice and I'm designing and listing it for sale, I'll be very, I will be very honest. Usually it is double the cost. I know a lot of people say triple the cost in order to be able to pay yourself and things like that. But if I did triple the cost, I don't think I'd be able to sell designs. And that's just me being very honest.
See, so there you have it. Okay, so she's giving you a baseline to start with. So, and you guide it the way that you feel and what your customers respond to. Remember, your customers need to respond to how you're pricing things. Laurel's here. Hi, Laurel. Okay, so Michelle had a question, and this is an interesting one because, again, it goes back to making something for somebody that may not be something that you would normally put in your home or whatever. She asked, how do you tackle and tell someone that they have as a vision in quotes is not in quotes beautiful? Like maybe color choice, because a lot of us don't have a good color concept, right? So how would you guide somebody that way?
Sure. Honestly, I don't think anything, I don't think anything a client chooses would be maybe not beautiful together, because they may have their home in teal blue and purple and pops of orange. Would I think those go together? Maybe not. But if that's what's in her home, I'm going to make it happen. So for me, it's never, it's a mindset. It's purely a mindset. I don't think I've ever felt someone say, oh, I want this and this and this. And I'm like, ooh, that is not good. Honestly, I don't think I've ever felt that way. Now, when it comes to things like ribbon choices, if we're pairing something, for example, because I have it next to me. If we're pairing something next to these scissors that's red, right? And they wanted to put maroon with it, I may say, hey, just a heads up, if that's what you want me to do, I'll do it. I will always do what you want me to do. But here's an example of showing what would look maybe just a little bit, it might coordinate better than burgundy and red. Does that make sense?
It does to me. Is everybody satisfied with that? That's a very good answer. So here's a few people have popped in. Patty of Journeys of Wreath says, hey ladies, thank you for doing this for us. Amber Lee said that was a great question. Little Luxuries, our friend Misty in North Carolina says, Lindsay is one of the best in our industry. Her designs are stunning, but her personality is amazing. And then Laurel's reminded, that's their style. Do not insult somebody's style. That is not a good selling point. That's not a way to sell wreaths, guys. That's not a way to make custom orders. I'm just saying.
And you'll never get a return order either.
See, and Cindy is being true to herself. Cindy from Timber Crafts is being true to herself and saying she struggles with that, which is why she personally doesn't do many customs.
And that's
you
okay.
have to know yourself as a designer. You have to know yourself as a designer.
Yeah, that is totally okay. And I touched on this just a little bit, but some people really hate the way I do my business. So I've had people come into my life saying, you need to tell your customer that does not look good. Well, that's not my place. So there is a line where you have to know what your skills are and what your comfort level is. If your comfort level and your skills are doing what you think looks pretty and customers are loving it, keep doing it. Keep doing it. That's why my business model is is so unique. And I think anytime you do something that's very different, you're gonna you're gonna get a lot of pushback. But my skill set, honestly, if I mean everyone has been so gracious and so grateful and so kind to me today about my designs. I honestly don't think that is my true skill set. I don't think
Ooh,
designing wreaths is my true skill set.
ooh, come on. Come on. What is it? What is it? You've already put it out there. What is it? What is your true skill set? Come on.
I think my true skill set is working with people.
Okay.
I have patience, I have grace, I have gratitude. So and that's why I built my business the way that I did, because I wanted to work with people. I wanted, and you mentioned it earlier, Claudia, it's about the relationship. I wanted
It
to have
is.
that relationship. So honestly, when people say and compliment my designs, that's wonderful, but I think my skill set is really relating to people.
Well, Laurel highly disagrees. She what in my thing. She says, "Well, then you have two strengths, lady. So whatever." Well, there it is. Creations by Stacy says customs are hard inventory wise. It's expensive to constantly buy for every custom. How do you address that? Wait, no, do that face again. Okay, so I'll address it from me as a newbie. Okay, I'll address it from me. Um, when I am working with somebody who, because I do locally, I do custom orders locally. I haven't had that translate over to the online, but I do have people that do want things that are custom. So I have had people where I have a consultation. I call it a consultation. Let's consult, and we look at things that they want specifically for what they want. You know, we just go over what we want. I show them what I have. Always go with what you have. Okay, because there might be something already in what you have that they will like. Okay, so you show them what you have and try to be like, I can have this done for you in a couple of days, where if I have to order specifically for you, it could be a couple of weeks. So it also depends on the desire of that customer. So that does help me a lot when it comes to buying stuff just randomly to fill a custom.
Yeah.
What about you, Lindsay?
I'm not going to be a good influence in that answer.
You're fine. That's the whole point of having this conversation. Talk to us, girl. Talk to us.
I mean, I clearly, I love what I do. I've said it many times on my lives. I don't spend money on clothes or shoes. I mean, this is from Walmart. I don't spend money on clothes or shoes. My makeup is at least 7 years old. I don't buy new makeup. I spend my money, my business money on growing my supplies, growing my options, and that's where I'm going to bring back that word investment, because this is a true, and this is the investment. I'm gonna get a return of what I'm choosing to invest in, and I'm choosing to invest in this. So that's where using the right word and the right way matters.
Remember her floral wall. The one where we all, like, we can see a peek of it on her screen, but remember her floral wall. It is drool worthy. Drool worthy. That wall is absolutely fabulous. But remember, again, she's been in business 4 years. She didn't buy all of that overnight. So remember, she has built this up. So don't try to, yes, try to be like Lindsay, but don't try to be like Lindsay. You can't do that overnight. You have to take time. It's got to build. Okay. Any other questions based on her customer business, guys? If there's any other questions based on this topic about customers and how to do different things with customers. Okay, so I have a few comments. So Cindy from Timbercraft again says, I honestly think making custom orders takes a whole other talent of communication, which is why you're good. Which is why you're good, because you're a people person and you're patient. Michelle, it's Michelle from Timber and Tool says, I admire your ability to say this is a custom order and we need them to say what they like. So that's admired, Lindsay. And I have to say that that's kind of fantastic too. Amber Lee says, your compassionate inclusion, acceptance. Lindsay has a way of building people up and it's heartfelt.
Thank you.
So
Thank
there you go. There you go. So you're getting muchos accolades over here. Oh my gosh. Laurel says she spends her money on designer ribbon. Laurel spends her money on designer ribbon. That's hilarious. Okay.
I've got a question on my end that I'm willing that you know I'll address part of it. Christina says, ever had one say that's not what I wanted? So I've only had that happen truly one time, but again that was a situation where, you know, sometimes you just can't make everyone happy no matter what. And I could not make this client happy no matter what I did. I sent her photos of products before we used them. She agreed to them. The product was then made on a live. She said she loved it in a live. She received it and said that what she received was different than what was seen on the live. And I mean, there's nothing I can do to control that.
Did you bait and switch? Did you bait and switch?
Yeah. That's
That's
so
rough.
You know, there are going to be but that honestly that's only happened one time. But that's why I share photos of products and I do prefer to do the live, as long as the client is willing to tell me, you know, on the live, yes, I like that, or no, I don't. There has to be an open and honest conversation between both of us. That's really what that's about. What percentage of down payment do you require? Currently, I require a 50 cookie down payment, and then the balance is due once it's completed. That may change in the next year as I continue to grow my business and I continue to learn some things. Just because some people will pay the deposit and then never pop up on the live for their design. So there's some things that I'm going to be adjusting and figuring out. And that's just me sharing a little bit of my journey and honest truth, Christina. I don't know if that helps you, but that is a little bit of honesty and truth about what I'm going through. Okay.
I have a question over. Yeah, I have a question over on this end. Crystal asks, what's your least favorite thing about making?
My least favorite thing about making?
The loofah stage. Say it. The loofah stage.
Probably. Yeah, probably. Because everyone thinks that, you know, when you put mess on a wreath, it just doesn't look good.
It cracks me up.
No. It would probably be that I've been doing this for a while, and so I can see where a design is going. And that's why I always say trust the process. Some people don't want to trust the process. They want to, you know, I think sometimes you have to sit back and try to enjoy the process. And so that would probably be the struggle I have sometimes, is trying to communicate that, like, hey, it's going to be okay. I promise it's going to be okay.
We need shirts. We need shirts. Definitely TPT shirts, guys. I'm all for it. We're getting a shirt design together. That's going to be the thing. And it's going to have, Lindsay. Trust the process. Okay. So because we know we have to trust the process. Okay. Here's another question from Annette Baker, AM Blooms. She says, do you feel that social media boosted your sales?
Yeah, I do. I did already have a great, strong foundation of my business before I went on social media. I had a great, strong foundation, and that's what I talked about earlier with growing your community first. So it has grown my sales. Yeah.
Laurel asked, based on what you shared about that one client, that one thing that happened, how did you address that, if you don't mind sharing?
How did I address the client
that received the item and said it wasn't what she saw on the live?
Yeah. How I chose to handle that was with with as much dignity and grace that I could handle. I apologize that she wasn't happy. And while it saddened me that she accused me of switching the designs, which is just not possible, I refunded her and I had her ship it back to me. I paid for the shipping. And once it arrived back here, it wasn't even taken out of the box. It was still zip tied to the box. That tells me that she just didn't want it no matter what. So I refunded her, paid for the shipping label, had it sent back to me. I took it out of the box, I fluffed it, I showed it on my live and said, hey, this is available, and it sold right away. And I'm so grateful that it sold right away. So those things may happen, and you have to figure out how to handle that. I could have said there's no refunds, there's no returns, and that is a change that I have made in my business as well. There are no returns moving forward. Because that happened, I had to learn how to adjust my business model, and that now is in my custom order form. If it's a custom order, I'm truly blessed that it's sold, but she picked out all of those items prior to me putting it together. So I'm really lucky that it sold ultimately, but that won't be allowed to happen again because I lost money. I paid for shipping twice, and then sold it, and I sold it at a lower rate than when I made it, because it was
custom. Yeah, because it was already so custom.
Yeah.
Well, Lindsay, I appreciate your honesty with that and your transparency with that, because it is something that a lot of people struggle with the thought of it, because it keeps people from going and selling online, because it's a lot different than somebody buying in person. Selling online, you're taking that risk of the box goes and then they receive it and then what? So that was an awesome answer to that. Let's see if we have any more questions. Okay, so Misty from Little Luxuries asks, I have a business coach. How do you continue to learn in your business?
How do I continue to learn? I don't have a business coach. How do I continue to learn? I think I continue to learn by pushing boundaries and trying things that I haven't done before. Trying things that challenge me and make me uncomfortable. That's probably the best way I can answer that. I've got a question over here. Joan says, do you take PayPal? Joan, I do not take PayPal.
I think she asked that because she knows your answer. I think we all know Lindsay does not do PayPal.
Yeah. I had an issue where my account was hacked and PayPal did not protect my investment, my true investment, and so I was out quite a bit from PayPal. So I don't do PayPal. Yeah. When you tell customers the wreath cost is $100, is that with shipping or not? No, Cindy, that is without shipping, and that is without sales tax. That is the cost of the wreath, if that's been agreed upon with the client and me. But shipping and sales tax is completely separate, and I do communicate that with my client too, and that is on my custom order form. I'm sorry, I've got a few more questions here. Hang on.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
Bailey, what do you do with the designer choice wreaths that you don't sell? Open and honesty, I've only had one that didn't sell, and I gifted it. Or I will use that wreath in a giveaway, or I'll use that wreath in a night of blessing. But I've been really blessed that that's only happened one time.
That it for now?
Nope, I got one more. Hey, Candace.
Okay.
Christy, sorry, Claudia. Christy says,
no, you're fine.
How do you stay so motivated to carry on? That's an interesting question.
That's deep. That's deep.
How do I stay so motivated? Well, I love what I do. I don't view this as a job. I love what I get to do. I honestly think that if I completely switched my business model tomorrow and I said, I'm not doing custom orders. I'm only going to make wreaths, and I'm going to open up an Etsy shop, and I'm going to hope they sell, I would be miserable. I would be miserable because I know that that's not what I wanted from my business. I wanted to engage in clients and conversations. So for me, it's not hard to be motivated because I love my clients. The root of my business is my clients. And so for me, it's not hard to stay motivated because I truly do love my clients.
So would you say that that's your why?
No, that's not my why.
I'm just going to segue right into what's your why, friend? Why do you do this? Why is this something that you wake up and are so excited to do day after day after day?
My why is honestly bringing some joy into this dark world as it is, and trying to find the joy in others and bring joy to others. That's my why. That's my why.
And we love you for it. That's just Claudia being Claudia in the moment. All right. So here's something that was asked in your question when you asked is, what do you do when you're struggling with sales? And has that been something that's ever happened to you? Like, have you ever been at a point where you were struggling to get that next sale or to get that next customer?
Yeah. For me personally, January and February are the slowest months for me. Now, I haven't even been on TikTok live for a year, so I don't know what this January and February is going to look like for me. But January and February are usually the slowest months for me, and I'm okay with that. I actively don't try to make sales because honestly, everyone has spent so much money on Christmas. Everyone's wallets are short, and everyone needs to try to recoup from Christmas. And so I don't try to put any of that pressure on my clients because I get it. We have twin boys. We have Christmas we have to pay for too. So I try to take those down times, and I try to find joy in that because for me, you mentioned my ribbon wall. That was when we made my ribbon wall. Was when I had the time and I didn't have a ton of orders. That was when we made my floral wall. It's in those times where maybe you won't get sales that you have to look at it as an opportunity. And for you, you're going to have to figure out what that opportunity is saying. But it's what you do at those times that you have the ability to make change. And if it's not making sales, then maybe it's figuring out how to grow. Maybe it's figuring out how to engage more in your local community. Maybe it's figuring out what your local community wants that you can provide for. I hope that answers.
Greg from Creek Road Design says, just know we're here, but reception isn't good at our show. So Greg and Michelle are here from their show. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
Crystal said that you all motivate me every day.
Thank you, Crystal.
And Austin says that she loves this talk. So here's a question. How do you manage a budget? Budget's a rough word for the wreath community. Just understand it's going to get a little uncomfortable right now. How do you manage a budget to keep from overspending on supplies?
I'm not going to be able to answer that because I do overspend on supplies.
I love you, and I know that's most of us. But you know what though? Especially when you go, oh my gosh, when you go to these craft suppliers and you get to see the stuff right in front of you and it's not something you have to click and put into your cart. Again, it's an emotional purchase. It's an emotional purchase. So I get that. And Justin just said, what's a budget? Justin from Green Ray says, what's a budget? And everybody's agreeing. Yeah, and then Laurel says, what is overspending on supplies? That's not a thing.
that's where you do have to consider investments. But if it also depends on where you're at in this journey. If you are starting out, no, do not do that. That is my advice. Do not do that.
Do you recommend kits? Do you recommend kits at all? Wreath kits. Yeah.
I think they can be great. I really do think they can be great for the folks that want to make a wreath without having to buy all supplies. I think they can be great. I think it just depends on there are great wreath kits that are out there, and there are other wreath kits that I think tend to try to take advantage of people by their pricing. And I think if you have a little knowledge about this industry and pricing, and you see that, you want to maybe kind of just be careful of that. Some people will try to definitely take advantage of that, and so that's not what I align with. But I mean, we've sold wreath kits when I've taught our classes, and we sold them for the cost of the supplies times what we needed for shipping and sales tax, and a little bit more for our supplies and cutting them all up, because that takes time. But I hope that answers that. Okay.
Totally fair. All right. You have a question?
I do. It was asked a while ago. Angela, are you still in here? She asked us a while ago. She's been waiting so patiently. Angela asked, hang on, let me scroll back up. Angela, I hope you're still in here. I'm so sorry. Angela asked, and this may skip around to another question later on, Claudia, that you had. Okay. But I don't want to let it get forgotten. What is the hardest part about going live?
Oh, that's what we were segueing into. So we'll put a pin in that. Literally, that's the next topic. So Angela, we got you. Just give us 1 minute, because Justin has a question that I feel that does help for you. Okay. Do you go to musts that you always keep in your shop? So do you have go-to that you must have in your shop at all times? Like something that you like, either a base mesh, like stuff that you have to have go-to. I think we all do. I think we all do.
Yeah, I mean, I have my favorites that I use all the time that I know responds well to the majority of my clients. And so there are things that those are what I call everyday items. Everyday items. You're going to be able to use them almost any time of the year throughout any season. And those are the things that I think you do need to have on stock at all times. And when I'm getting low, I'm like, oh no, I have to get that, because that's something I know that I'm always going to need. Yeah.
Now, Justin, did you want to know what her go-to is? I have a feeling that's going to be the follow-up question. So Lindsay, what is your go-to? What is yes. See, Justin wants to know what your go-to is. I knew it.
My go-tos are always going to be jute mesh, grapevines, evergreen bases, and then everyday ribbon. Everyday ribbon examples, I'll grab a few.
Okay, perfect.
That I always have to have on hand. Okay, let's see. I'm going to pop off camera for just to my ribbon wall. Hang on.
Oh, okay. I like that term. Somebody called them pantry items.
Pantry item.
I like that.
Yes, I think that's a great idea. Let's see. Making sure these are some examples of something that I use all the time for any holiday, for any season, blacks and whites and naturals, jutes, all the time. So that would be my, no matter what, I always have something like these available. And then for mesh, do y'all want me to grab some mesh? Is that what y'all want me to do? I can.
No, I'm laughing because I think it's a misprint, but he wants me to read it. Justin says, I really need panty items because I was thinking about ribbon.
Pantry items.
Need to throw an R up, and he told me read. He actually typed read.
Well, that may be a play on words because he may also be talking about the panty ribbon. The
That's
panty
what he wants.
ribbon.
He wants the panty ribbon out there. Yep, he wants that panty ribbon. The
Yeah,
lacy
and
ribbon.
kind of tying in with that, I love anything that has an edge to it. This applies to ribbon or mesh, whether it's a snowdrift edge or the panty ribbon edge or a let's see, a tinsel edge, another color wired edge. I always have those on hand, and the same thing goes for mesh too. Oh boy, oh boy.
Justin is a mess, and I love that. Man, I just love him. Okay, he goes, "Yep, that's what I was thinking," because when he read it in the thing, he said he read panty and not pantry. I don't have, just so you know, I don't have a panty closet. I have a panty drawer. So there is a difference. Just saying, this can go into bad places. So we're going to come back up out of the gutter, leave Justin there. He can hang out there. We're going to step out of the gutter. Okay, so we're going to go into lives, and I've got more live questions. So we're going to start with Angela's live question. So go ahead and answer her live question. We're shifting over to live, guys.
Okay, so Angela's question was, I got to get back to it. Sorry.
You're fine.
What was the hardest thing about going live? Okay, so there's two different ways I can answer that. The hardest thing about going live in the beginning, okay, or the hardest thing about that I'm finding going live now. There are two completely different answers to that. I'll try to touch very briefly on both of them. In the beginning, if you're growing your business, I think the hardest thing that everyone's shared with me, and that I maybe had just a little bit of in the beginning, was fear. There's a lot of fear, right? Oh, what if there's nobody in my live watching? What if there's people in my live watching, but nobody's commenting? What if they don't like what I'm doing? There's a lot of fear around that, okay? And what I want to say to that, this is one of my life lessons chats here. You will learn more from your failures than you ever will learn from your successes. And I'm going to repeat it again, okay? This is something my dad taught me when I was 16. And it's one of those hardcore life lessons that I share with everyone, because I truly think it has so much power in it that people underestimate it, okay? You will learn more from your failures than you ever will learn from successes. You may not be able to duplicate that success. You may do that success in a different way, but you will learn more from your failures. And if you can embrace that, and so that kind of gives you a little insight into my family dynamic there and why I am the way I am. I was raised with that way, okay? I was raised not to be afraid of failure, because the failure will teach us so much more. And so I know that's a hard thing to grasp, especially if maybe that wasn't ever shared with you. We have such a fear of failure, and I think that needs to change.
So that's like a fail forward thing, right?
Fail forward. What's that?
Okay, so fail forward is, if you don't try it, you don't know if you're going to fail. If you don't do it, you don't know that you won't like it. You just don't know. So the fear of what ifs can keep you from the reward. So you fail forward. Do it scared.
Right.
Okay? And an acronym for fear: false evidence appearing real. False evidence appearing real. Use that, guys. I learned that a long time ago, and let me tell you something. If you tell yourself something, if you say the words "I can't," you've already convinced yourself that you can't. So no, you can't. You've already convinced yourself that you can't do it. I can't is a bad thing to tell yourself. I'll try is much better than I can't. Unless you physically are unable, because you're not going to be able to run if you don't have legs. However, people without legs have figured out how to run. So there's that. They don't understand. They don't limit themselves from failing forward, from learning how to adjust, adapt. That's what you have to do when you go live. You have to adjust and adapt. It's not always going to go well. You have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go.
No, go ahead and finish, and then I'll ask the question.
Well, this was another question, so we can just do your question, and then I have a question from the comments.
Okay. So Katie with Salt and Sage Designs, she's one of my dear friends. Radio silence is so hard when you are live. Like, someone, please talk. I'm just not standing here. I think that is such a key point, and I do want to talk about that, okay? All right. It's gonna be a little, yeah.
I was gonna say that is something that keeps coming up over and over and over again. So yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. This is another one of my life lessons I'm going to share with you. I don't share this on my lives, but I think it applies exactly to that same situation. Okay. So I have a question for all of you watching. Who here has ever gone to a movie by themselves? Who here has ever gone and had dinner at a restaurant completely by themselves? Lee has. Michelle has. No, Connie has. Carrie has. Courtney has. Hey, Courtney. Jolene, Becky, me. Okay. Hella times. Okay. So if you've been to a movie theater or you have been to a restaurant and had dinner completely with yourself, you haven't done that, I encourage you to do that before you, if you haven't gone live. I encourage you to do that before you decide to go live, okay? Because you need to be comfortable with silence. You need to be comfortable with silence. You need to be okay with yourself. You need to be okay not talking all the time, because there are going to be times when you're not going to be able to talk on a live. Okay? There has to be a certain level of, I don't want to say confidence, okay? Don't want to say confidence, but trust in who you are. And I think we misconceive that silence as, oh, they don't like me because they're not talking. And that's not true. That's not true. So I think there's a misconception there.
Laurel just says she feels like a crazy person talking to herself.
Well, I mean, that is a little bit of what we do. We do have to be able to talk and interact. But I think at times it's okay to be silent. It's okay.
A question that came in from Michelle says, what's the biggest blooper or bad thing you did on a live?
Oh, I called my client the wrong name, and I apologized immensely for it right away.
We call Greg Gary all the time.
Sorry. I mean, I felt horrible. I'm horrible with names. I am truly horrible with names. My kids can tell you, I tell them the wrong name all the time, and they're not even identical twins.
That's funny. Well, you always get my business name wrong. It's Claudia's Door Decor. That's it.
Claudia's Door Decor. See, there we go. There we go. Perfect.
But I love you, and I know it's not done intentional. At least you get my name right. The name part's right. That works. They'll figure it out. I'm like, they'll figure it out. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
And my first thought is like, okay, it's not bad calling a person by the wrong name unless you're in bed with them. Then it's bad. Just saying. That's just Claudia humor. We're going to skip on. Okay. So, let's see. Somebody asked a business class question, and I'm trying to find it, from Christy Richardson. Is there a business class that you took, or do you offer a class?
I have not taken any true business classes. I've taken some technology classes to try to learn a little bit more about technology, because that's where I really struggle. And then as far as classes I've offered several in-person and virtual wreath classes. I have them here in Oklahoma, and we also offer it virtually. And the next one coming up is going to be at the end of February, and it's going to be a lasso class. And I'm still finalizing the details. Sometimes it's hard to plan that far out when we don't have the supplies in quite yet. So I'm working on that.
All right, so we addressed the how would you encourage somebody to go live? So everybody's going to go out and do something by themselves. I mean, I'm in the car by myself. Does that count? Just saying. I have not actually gone to dinner by myself. I haven't gone to a movie by myself. My family makes fun of me because they're like, you don't even like being home by yourself. But now I'm good. No, now I can be home by myself, but then I'm online with you guys. So is that really by myself? You know, so exactly. I'm working on it. I'm learning. I'm a work in progress. It's totally fine. So Misty from Little Luxuries has asked, ladies, what's your favorite thing to design?
Ooh, well, I mean that's probably easy to answer. Florals usually, but swags are becoming my favorite. Swags are becoming my absolute favorite.
Well, because they're fabulous. I mean, seriously, yeah, everybody loves your swags. My thing is just went, yes, we love Lindsay. I mean, literally, I watch you design and I'm like, that is next level skill. That is, and it's so natural. It's just so natural and it's beautiful to watch. Like mesmerizing. Mesmerizing is a good word. Everybody agree mesmerizing is a good word.
And maybe that's why it's silent sometimes too in the live. Is sometimes it may be more enjoyable just to watch than to converse and engage. Some people tell me they just purely like to watch. TikTok has become the new version of television. Only better.
Right?
Only better.
Because you can interact. Because you can interact. But at the same time, and this is the thing, and this is what I say about going live. You only need one person, one actual human being to engage with you in your live. And if you can be that person for somebody else, because you guys know when you go into a live and there's nobody talking to that person and you can see the discomfort, be that person. 10 minutes, maybe even 5 minutes of engaging with that person can totally flip their mindset during that live and encourage them. Christy says, yes, I love to watch her, and that's my problem. I watch her and not creating myself, LOL. And then Misty says she tries to ask questions to help out, basically with that live getting along. And the truth of the matter is we want, as a person that's going live, and this is for me and I'm sure for others, is we want to know that me being here matters. We just want to know that it matters. Like, is somebody glad we're there? Is this helping somebody? Is this, bringing some joy, some visual entertainment, something to that person? So that's basically what we want to do. And a lot of that fear too, Lindsay, if you think about it, when people are scared to go live, is because people have gone live and had no viewers. Has that ever happened to you? Had nobody on?
Yeah, I mean the first two lives, I think I had 3 people in. It was my first two lives. But I think I think this is going to be a little uncomfortable. I think if you are seeking validation from others, if you are seeking validation from strangers on the internet, and I mean that in the kindest way, if you are seeking validation from people that you have never met or known, you're setting yourself up for hurt. You are creating a box that says the only way I will feel more confident about myself is if other people are in my life telling me what I'm doing is good. And I think if that's the motivation, you're gonna always be questioning, oh, why weren't people in my live? Why weren't people talking in my live? Why wasn't that I'm not gonna go live if people aren't gonna be in my live? Well, I'm not gonna go live because people don't like me. You have to figure out what your intention is for going live. If your intention for going live is that, telling you right now, folks, it's not gonna work.
No, it's not. What about loneliness?
Feeling lonely or finding
going live to fill the loneliness.
I think you have to find how to fill that loneliness in another part of your life. I think you need to find that if you're lonely, I think which we all are lonely. I've been lonely. Trust me. But I have people in my life here in my real life that I go to for comfort and for care, that I depend on, that I know is a safe space. And that's really what I would recommend. I would recommend you find those people that are in your life that you know you can trust, that you know are there for you, that you know that are there in person and can give you a hug, because that really is so much more valuable, I think, than words. Actions truly do speak louder than words, even though the words sometimes are what gets spread around. Actions are what speaks louder. And if you are lonely, I encourage you to go find how to fill that loneliness in person, not through social media, because it's not healthy. And that's
so this should be an addition to, not a replacement of.
Yeah.
Right? An addition to, not a replacement of.
Right.
All right. So work, life, business, online balance. Let's move into that, because we know that you are a wife, you are a mom, you are a homeschool teacher. Let's just call it what it is. You are a homeschool teacher. You are a creator, designer, business owner. How do you balance that? Do you have a schedule? Do you have set things? Do you schedule your time? How do you do that?
Yeah, I do. I do have a schedule that I've created. And again, just to go back to the roller coaster reference, it is changing. But my schedule has been that I design wreaths at night for the client. And then in the morning, I am teaching my children and having family time with my children. I'm closed for business hours. And then in the afternoon, after our lunchtime usually, is when my husband's able to take over, and I switch and I do what I need to do. So if we're speaking in the matter of, this isn't a 9 to 5 for me, but I think any small business owner will tell you it's not a true 9 to 5. It's whenever you can fill the hours is when you fill the hours. But as far as talking about work-life balance, I would say if it gets to the point where you're losing what's important to you, you have to put the brakes on and reassess. Because for me, what that looks like is I won't be designing a whole lot of custom wreaths in the month of December. I have family that's flying in from out of state. I want to enjoy the holidays. I will not be on live as much as I have been, because for me, it's more important to be with my family than it is to gain orders or to gain, I hate to say it because it sounds so grubby, than it is to collect money, because my wreath business could close tomorrow. My family is what's going to last. And so I want to make sure that that is always my driving force. Fame, fortune, riches, that's not my driving force. that will never be my driving force. And so you have to put boundaries in place. I talked about boundaries in a video earlier, actually. Boundaries are to protect ourselves and they're to protect others. And you have to create those boundaries for yourself. Otherwise, if there aren't any boundaries, it's going to be a train wreck. And so for me, I have a working relationship with TMI Gifts. I had to tell them, hey, I don't think I'm going to do a collab in the month of December because I want to be able to celebrate and spend time with my family. That's something that I'm choosing to take on. It's more important. So I think you have to enjoy the time that you have. Otherwise, what are we doing this for?
So that's a priority alignment. That's definitely having your priorities in the right place, and each person has to decide what those priorities are for them. And that goes back to your IRL, in real life, relationships. So for me, for example, my friends support me, right? They support me, but they don't want to talk about ribbon. They don't get excited about ribbon, you know? That's the type of friendships that my online community has offered me. I have a place where I can go and talk about ribbon and sales. Sales that we need to jump on, because some of the sales are really good right now, guys. I'm not going to lie. Some of the sales are excellent right now. And
enabler.
Shush, I accuse all y'all, enablers, hoarders, enablers. And I do call people that. Courtney has her heifer name. I'm an enabler. I call everybody enablers. I'm like, you're an enabler. But the truth of the matter is this is the community where you can talk about the things that you're passionate about, such as ribbon, such as mesh, how to use different things, like the pool liner ribbon that Lindsay recently showed us. No, it's a beautiful ribbon. But man, did you see her working with that? That ribbon was like drool worthy. That's what you want all your ribbon to look like. I mean, honestly. But at the same time, you have to be realistic, right? You still have to have that realistic factor of that may not be what you have the funds for right now. But guys, there is some good ribbon out there that you can find that is designer-esque. And you can start there. Fit where you're at, is what I say. Lindsay is to me, and you may disagree, Lindsay, but she is a high-end designer. Shush, you are. She is a glam designer. But she can go anywhere in between that. But she has hit glam status, guys. I hate to point out the fact that those Ferris silk gems that she puts in her designs, oh my good heavens. However, that looks good on Lindsay. Talk about, for me, for example, nowhere near that status, but man, that's a goal. I want to be able to use that gorgeous ribbon, right? Yeah, I want to get to that point, right? But I need to be realistic in where I'm at. I'm a year into my business, almost. April will be a year fully into my business, but I've been designing since 2020 for myself. So be realistic in your goals. Lindsay is a goal, right? Lindsay is where Lindsay, I don't mean that in a bad way, because if you think about it, you have to see people that inspire you and be inspired and be like, look at that. That is amazing. That gives me hope that I can someday get to that. And by taking her classes, it helps. Just saying. To be around fabulousness helps. Just saying. So, and that's just part of it, right? So I'm an iron sharpens iron person, Lindsay. Right? Iron sharpens iron. So you really need to get yourself in the mindset of, if you want to get to your goals, to reach your goals, you need to surround yourself with the people that inspire you, that you learn from, that you can create with. Those are the people that you need to be around. I'm never gonna be Lindsay, guys. That's not my goal. I don't want to be Lindsay. Like, that's weird. I don't. That's not what I want. But to use the ribbon she uses in her masterful way, that took years to get there, right? So don't expect yourself for it to happen overnight. Any questions happening over in your thing?
No, just wonderful comments. Thank you guys for all this, all the support, all the comments.
So your ego feels good? I'm just kidding. All right,
Anything, I'm
so
uncomfortable.
she's uncomfortable with compliments. So she tells us that we need to go dine by ourselves and watch movies by ourselves, but compliments make her uncomfortable. That's hilarious to me. All right, so here's a topic that we haven't touched on. Well, actually, I did touch them because I called you glam. So your style of designing is leaning very glam.
Yeah, that's what I prefer.
Okay, so and everything you create is stunning, girl. I mean, that's all I gotta say is everything you create is stunning.
Thank you.
How long did it get you to get there, to let your glam fly, so to speak?
I think really when I started gaining more confidence in in what I see as glamorous, and I did get a lot of support from that. I did get a lot of support from that, and encouragement. And so when I started getting more of that feedback, I did think, okay, I put it out there, I tried it, I can do this. And so I think that's grown from there. I do have a question.
Exploded. It's exploded, just saying.
Victoria says, are you ever uncomfortable talking to your iPad? Talking to my iPad. Do you mean like talking to the live? I have my iPad out as, you know, if I need to address any text message or things like that. Like my husband is downstairs with my twins. But if you're talking, Victoria, I may need a little clarity on that. Do I ever feel uncomfortable talking to my phone? No, because sometimes I don't just necessarily talk to talk. I'm okay with maybe not talking sometimes. I'm okay with that silence. I'm okay with sometimes not always having to entertain. And I think that's a part of going live too, is that sometimes, you know, you do feel like the entertainer. My husband kind of jokes, when my husband is watching sneakily, lots of folks don't know this. I'll be like, oh my gosh, people are asking for more, dance, monkey, dance. I'm like, no. And so that's where you have to set those boundaries on, you know, being careful that you don't bow down to the masses. If that's, I don't know how to address that in a better way, but you have to have those boundaries for yourself. And I don't know if that answered your question, Victoria, but I hope it did. I hope it did. Krista says, I love when Mr. T comes into the lives. Thank you, guys. Katie says that part is so hard to turn off, especially when you have a loud and rambunctious household. Yeah. Absolutely. And Katie, you may have to figure out how to embrace the chaos and say, hey, this is my chaos. If you want to join me, do you have chaos too? Join me, because I relate to that, or I relate to all the noise, or I relate to the kids in the house. I mean, find out how you want to relate to that, and find the people that relate to the same things you relate to. And if it's not okay, then it's not okay, and wait until the time is right, and the time is right.
Valerie says Lindsay has gifted hands and is dedicated to bringing visions to light.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Misty says, ladies, what are your 2024 goals?
That's a good question. Well,
That you're comfortable sharing. Nobody wants to make you uncomfortable, Lindsay.
no.
Have you thought about it?
Yeah, I thought about it. For me, that's growing. I've had a lot of positive feedback from the classes that I've taught this year and taught with Courtney. And so I'm hoping to offer more classes. That seemed to be something that people really responded well to. So I'm hoping to offer more classes next year. That's something that I'm going to be looking at and developing.
And for me is better lighting. Literally, Kevin is off today and he's off all of next week. And I said, so honeydew list, can we put the lighting up that we've been talking about for months now? Can we get that situated? Because I need better lighting. So it's a small goal, it's attainable. It might not be 2024, but I just feel that I would do better if I didn't have to worry about my lighting. Just saying.
Yeah.
It can be something that simple. Patty of Journeys of Reese asks, so how long have you been doing this, Lindsay? So she's been in business 4 years, if that's what you're referring to, 4 years. But Lindsay, what about being online? You were on FB for how long before you came over to TT?
I came over to TikTok. I started posting on TikTok a year ago, like maybe I think a week ago. I didn't start doing lives. I don't think I started. I'd have to go back and look up if it's still in my data storage. So don't hold me to this because my memory is a little rocky on that. But I don't think I've been doing lives for even a year. I think that's been less than a year that I've been doing lives. Annette says, do I ever do craft fairs? Annette, I have not done a craft fair. So I can't speak on that.
She's custom orders, guys. Could you imagine? What is she going to do? Sit there, take a custom, make it in front of the customer, next customer? I mean, how long would that line be? I giggle only because of the fact that everybody is so excited when Lindsay does a designer's choice. Like literally, you can feel the live vibration go, ooh, she's going to make one of her own. So I get that. But honestly, craft fairs is definitely something that I would recommend for somebody who makes and sells on an online platform and has a lot of inventory. If you have the inventory, absolutely do a craft fair. Absolutely put yourself out there in your community. It does help with your inventory, to weed out your inventory. Absolutely recommend taking classes. Several designers that you'll find as you go through the community have classes on how to do craft fairs and how to do them well. And here I'm going to plug my Real Talk real quick. December 8th, Greg and Michelle from Creek Road Designs TX will be here. And guess what they do? They do craft shows. They do a lot of craft shows. Like their holiday season is definitely, so we can talk to them about craft shows. So December 8th, put it on your calendar. Real Talk, Greg and Michelle from Creek Road Designs will be here and talk about craft shows. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. All right, so somebody in your post talked about bows. What would you say to someone that struggles making bows?
I will tell you that I struggled making bows too. And anyone that says they didn't, either they were born with that gift or they may be telling just a little tiny bit of a fib. It takes time to figure out how to manipulate ribbon into the look that you're going for. It does. It takes time. I think anyone that says they didn't struggle learning to make bows, they may just not be telling you. They may be afraid to admit that. I'm not afraid to admit that. It took a lot of time for me to be happy with the bows that I make. It takes time. And still, if you asked me today to do a hand bow, that's not my thing. That's Courtney. That is not my thing. That is not my thing. It takes time. It takes time.
Will you be doing a bow class?
I have never thought about it. I've been asked about it. Something I could maybe possibly consider.
I want to hear a yes. I don't want to hear a maybe. I want to hear a definitive. You know what? That's something that I think that would be very beneficial because, okay, so here it is, okay? So I'm putting it out there because this is Claudia's show. And I'm taking the liberty to ask one of my favorite designers to answer this question. Okay, so there's a difference with using everyday ribbon and using designer ribbon. There's a different, so that would be where I think a bow class coming from you would be like, take my money. I need that class because I need to learn, because there's a difference. Let me tell you something. There's a ribbon that I just recently used, and I wouldn't say it's high end, but it's a good ribbon, but it has the wire down the middle. It has striping on the side. It has wire down the middle. It's a different way of using that ribbon, let me tell you. It's not, because it doesn't have the wire on the end. So I'm like, Lindsay would know. Lindsay would know how to do this.
Okay, let me, I'm gonna pull one ribbon and I'm gonna talk just a little gently about it. Hang on.
Yay.
But I appreciate the feedback because I figured so many other people, so many other talented designers.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. There's tons of math teachers out there. There's tons of science teachers out there. It matters who you learn from. And if you are a person somebody can learn from, they're going to want to take your class. So there's that.
Okay. So that'll be something I try to add on to the list for 2024 then, Claudia.
Yay.
All right. I've used this ribbon. Oh, I don't know if y'all can see. I've used this ribbon a few times in a couple different designs. Okay. Now, if y'all can see up close, it has jewels in it. Okay. Working with this kind of a ribbon, which is the designer ribbon. This is a D. Stevens. Okay. Working with this kind of ribbon versus working with a regular ribbon, it's very different. It's very different to fold. It's very different with how you end your tails. You won't be able to dovetail this. You won't be able to dovetail.
You can't twist it. You can't twist it. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So there definitely is a different way to use designer ribbon than there is to use everyday ribbon.
All right, raise your hand if you would take a class. Raise your hand right now. Everybody, raise your hand if you would take that class. That class. Would you take that class? I guarantee you. Yeah, hands are going up. Me, hands, me. I know. Because it's different. Lindsay, it's because it's different. And you make it look seamless.
Well, okay?
So we need an up close and personal. What do you do with this ribbon? Because ribbon's intimidating. And when you're already having a bow situation in your head, using designer ribbon isn't like, oh, I want to go use that. Oh, yeah, heck no. Lindsay makes it look easy. And that's way too much money to spend on that ribbon when I don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, there definitely is. And lots of people on my side are commenting about maybe also in that same possibility, talking about how to choose ribbons that go together and how to choose how many ribbons you want to put together.
The things. All ribbon. Yeah. We'll just call it the ribbon class. It's fantastic. Take my money. Let's get it scheduled. I'm ready. I'm telling you, Lindsay, don't limit yourself because, girl, you got it. You got it going on.
Oh, thank you.
All right, lasso class. Let's talk about your upcoming lasso class. Let's promote the crap out of that one.
Well, it's the last day in February, I believe. And I right now I can't talk a whole lot about it because my wholesaler still has not received his spring floral shipment in. So I really wanted to put it out there and see if there would be feedback for it. And we have gotten good feedback. So I'm still waiting to get supplies in so that I can do those mock-up and designs. It's probably going to be happening mid-December, if not right after Christmas.
Be on the lookout, guys. Be on the lookout, because let me tell you something. I don't know about you all, but there's an equestrian need. There's an equestrian need. I have gotten feedback from several equestrian people that say, I would so want blankety blank to be able to gift, to be able to give, to be able to this. So if you have access, availability, or anything with lassos, used lassos, all of that stuff, tap into that. Tap into that. And if you can share, that would be amazing, because I know that finding lassos can be also a struggle for people. Because the new lassos isn't what you want, right? It's the used ones.
Well, so let me talk a couple of things. Ella, yes, this is a Q&A that we're doing. Yeah. So we are going to have limited wreath supply boxes that will include the lassos. My wholesaler has agreed to purchase extra supplies for the lassos, because if you live somewhere that you may not be able to get lassos, we want to be able to help you with that. And so they're going to be limited supply boxes. They will have everything in it. They will have the lassos. They will have the florals. They will have the engineering that I use when I use my lassos. Jackie, go ahead. If anyone's interested in the class, go ahead and send me an email. So that when I have more information, I can email that out. And my email address is tarnationcreations@yahoo.com. It will be an in-person class here in Oklahoma, but if you're from out of state, I'm also going to be offering it virtually. And so if you wanted to not only purchase the class, which is separate, the virtual is going to be $25. I know that for sure. But if you wanted to purchase the supplies too, and you're out of state, we ship the supplies to you, and then you can make the lasso with us, and it will also be available on replay. So if you're not there that day, it's no problem. It is done over on Facebook though, so that it can be replayable. So you do have to have a Facebook account.
Absolutely. Let me see. There's some question. My thing started flying when we talked about you doing a bow class. So hold on one second. Yeah, everybody really wants to know how to pick ribbon, how to do different, how to pick ribbon. That across the board is definitely a trial and error thing, at least for me. Okay, so Crystal asks, do you have a favorite custom wreath that lives rent-free in your forefront memory? Do you have a favorite custom wreath that lives rent-free in your forefront memory?
Well, right now it's that blue gem with
I
the
could have told you
fairy
that.
silk magnolia. I mean, that was like
You had
I have been,
stars in your eyes when you made that. It was so awesome. I'm like, that's it. That's the one. Yep.
yeah. I've gotten messages about recreating it. I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna try, because that would be something I would keep in my home. That's probably currently one of my favorites, but I feel like I say that about all my wreaths. Like, oh, that one's my favorite. Oh, that one's my favorite.
No, actually, and that's the thing, right? So you're not going to send something out that you don't love, that you didn't put your Lindsay spin, your Lindsay touch, your Lindsay, magic dust on. You're not gonna send that out. So it is wonderful to watch how you can create something that is custom but still put your flair on it. So that's fun to watch. All right, so there's more classes questions. Wow, there's a lot of classes questions. So we want you to teach. So that's the feel that we've got going on here. Patty asks, will you be doing a class on putting greenery together to look good? So I guess the layering that you do, let me tell you something, that greenery, the grapevine class that I took from you, wow, it really taught me so much. So yes, you have a gift for teaching.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Um, I hope to do more classes. I hope to do more classes. Dustin says, "How do we choose our favorites?" It's so true. If you truly love what you're doing, you're gonna love what you're doing. You're gonna put a lot of love into each design. It's so true. So true. One
Also,
other
somebody asked that along with your bow class, if you can actually show the multiple uses of ribbon, like how you can do different ribbon designs within your wreath. That's another one.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thanks for that feedback, guys. Dustin says grapevines are a different beast. I think that's so funny because I love grapevines. I love working with florals and I love grapevines. I think it depends on how you got started in your design process. If you got started on mesh, you're going to love mesh because it's what you feel comfortable with. I got started on grapevines. I love grapevines. That's just like I can do a grapevine floral wreath so much faster than I could a mesh wreath. And it's so interesting to me that some people will struggle with one and some people will struggle with the other. So I think it depends on where you started at, really.
And is Dustin's talking from his floral background?
He is, yeah, he's amazing. Dustin's amazing.
Absolutely. And I'm like, Dustin, you got the floral thing down.
Grapevines are
Just
my
say.
jam, he says.
Yep. Yep. So Cindy says, if I could describe Lindsay's live, it's like a warm homemade biscuit on a Sunday morning.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys.
And Gypsy's asking how she starts a wreath business. Girl, get into the community. Watch several designers. We all talk about our business. It will encourage you. It will push you. You can always ask questions within several designers' lives. Absolutely.
Did we have anyone on my side of things? Did y'all have questions? Have we touched on? Is there something we haven't touched on, Claudia?
Somebody asked, what was the defining moment that pushed you over the wreathing edge?
What's the wreathing edge?
I don't know. I guess getting into making it a business probably because she's wanting to start a business. So I'm thinking like, what made you decide to take it from something that you like doing for yourself to then making it a business?
Okay. I think you have to decide, if you want to put in the work and the time and the effort and be there for the long haul. It's definitely not going to be something that happens overnight. It wasn't overnight for me. It isn't. It wasn't. So it definitely takes a lot of work. And I think maybe going into that with that understanding that, and that can be applied to anything. If I said, oh, I want to open up a restaurant, that's going to take a lot of work. Anytime you want to try and do something, that's going to take a lot of work. So I hope that answers that question. And I've got more over here. What?
Shipping, just so you know that's coming.
Well, Mickey Lee, I hope I'm saying that right. Forgive me if I'm not. I have had experience with negative community. How do you deal? Mickey Lee, I want to talk about that actually. There is going to be negativity in any career, in any community. There are going to be people that will come after you. There are going to be people that are going to be jealous of you. There are going to be people that are intimidated by you. There are going to be people that just want to stomp on you. And there are people that are just miserable in their life no matter what. And I genuinely do feel sad for that. I think as far as for me, how I choose to handle myself, I said this in a video yesterday, and I'm gonna repeat it. Who you choose to surround yourself with is how you will grow. If you choose to surround yourself with people that gossip and talk poorly about others or stomp on other businesses, if you choose to surround yourself with people that behave like that, just think about one day they may be doing those things to you. And so it's what you choose to give your energy and your power and your time to those people. I talked about boundaries in that video a lot too, and there's a lot of negative association with having to block people on this app or Facebook. But here's the thing, if this is your business, you choose how you run it. In every single brick and mortar, there is a sign that says we have the right to refuse business. And somehow that's gotten lost in the TikTok and the Facebook world. We all have the right to refuse business. We join this page for whatever reason you may join or start your own page, but you have the right to do that, and you have the right to block any people or businesses that are going to be negative for you, because that will affect you. It's affected me. And so for me, I had to be okay with blocking businesses, blocking people that are associated with businesses that would come into my lives and say negative things or message me or say things to my face in person at certain events, and then I'd find out negative things were being said later behind my back. So get rid of those negative people in your life. They're gonna suck you dry. They're gonna suck that energy out of you, and they don't deserve that. They don't deserve that. Don't give that any attention. Don't have any problem blocking them either.
Guys, blocking is healthy. Blocking is healthy. If anything makes you feel some kind of way, be okay with not allow. You wouldn't welcome them into your home. Why would you welcome them into your life? It's healthy, guys. It's healthy. And coming from somebody who was blocked, okay, just putting it out there, coming from somebody who was blocked, it's okay. Like, I'm okay with that. This person didn't want to have a conversation with me, didn't feel comfortable coming to me with whatever happened that made them mad at me, and they chose to block me. That's okay. That wasn't a healthy, it was never going to be a healthy thing anyway. So I had to be okay with it. And it is okay. I absolutely recommend that you guys get your feelers in check, and you're not always going to please everybody. Oh my gosh, guys, you're not going to please everybody. This is not a one and done. You're not everybody's cup of tea. Is that okay in the real world? If it's okay in the real world, let it be okay here too. You're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. People are going to rub each other the wrong way. People are going to say things that are going to hurt you. Your feelings are valid. However, how you deal with them is important. So have the conversations if it's important to you, or block them if it's not. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. But anyway, I digress. We're getting back over here. I know how important this community is to me, which is why I chose to do Real Talk. Which is why I'm like, let's have a conversation over here. Because I feel that if we know better, we do better. Okay? Some of us do things in one live and then go to another live and do the same things where it's not okay, if that makes any sense. So we have to respect the person going live as to how they run their live and be okay with it. That's just a fact. Not everybody's live that you watch is going to be the same. We're not cookie cutter people. Don't expect a cookie cutter live. Just saying. So understand that each individual has the right to run their live, run their show, I guess, the way that's comfortable for them. And don't expect yourself to be like blah or get the attention like blah. That's not healthy either. So I want to encourage people to go live because I feel we all learn from each other. Imagine if Lindsay never went live. We'd be sad. I'm speaking for myself, but the we collective, I'm sure, would be, yes, be your own brand. Be your own brand. Talk about that.
Yeah, you got to find what's going to make you different from everyone else that's out there. You mentioned cookie cutter. You don't want to be a cookie cutter wreath maker. You want to find what's going to be different, what's going to make you grow your audience that people can relate to, that may not be able to relate to from someone else. Like, Claudia, you're always sharing how to, put your name in your TikTok profile and how to do trips and ticks like this. I could never do that. That's not my skill set. You have to know what your skill set is.
Yep.
Now, Cindy commented on my page, can we just say how great the mods are? I want to talk about that. Moderators are huge. Moderators are huge. Moderators are they're the backbone of the boundaries. They will help because, if you get to a certain point when you're going live, you will have people that come in that are fake accounts, that are totally inappropriate accounts, and will say things that and I'm not talking about people being mean. I'm talking about things that should not ever be said in a live. Moderators have to help block those and help get those out of the lives. They help filter, they help answer questions. I don't think I'd be as successful on TikTok if I didn't have the amazing moderators that I do have. And that's hand to God the truth. I wouldn't be able to answer all the questions. I don't think people would have as much fun because my priority is the customer on my live. And so I'm not focusing on answering questions on a live. I'm focusing on helping to please the customer. So if it wasn't for my moderators, I don't think I'd be successful. And that's the truth.
So Gypsy again asked, the same one that asked about making this a wreath business, is how do you get over the fear that your wreaths aren't good enough to be on TikTok? Like your design style isn't good enough to be on TikTok.
I think that goes back to you have to find some self-validation. I can't answer that for you, what that looks like, but you have to love what you're doing. You have to love the designs that you're making. Otherwise, I guess the best comparison or the best analogy I could give is sharks. Okay, sharks in the water. They smell blood. They're going to go after it.
That's so true.
Now, that is not to say, because I don't like the phrase "fake it till you make it." I don't like that. I never have. I believe in honesty above all, and I think sometimes if you're able to show vulnerability with, hey, I may not know how to do this, but I'm gonna try it, and we'll see how it goes. I think that speaks volumes. But if you're not confident in what you're doing and you don't love what you're doing, that's going to be seen by others. That's going to be felt by others, and the others meaning the sharks, if you can. And I don't mean that in a cruel way, but they will be able to tell that you're not happy with your designs. You have to be. This is a lot of inner talk here. You have to be happy with who you are, the designs that you make, as you put them out there. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard. It's going to be very difficult.
I hope that helps, Gypsy. How do you get moderators for your lives? Tracy asks.
People volunteered for me, and I've had lots of folks volunteer, and there is a little bit of I want to check them out. I want to see who else they're moderating for, how it's going, what they how they moderate. But in the beginning, for me, I was like, okay, sure, you can be a mod, and I've had to learn those things. And it is about a lot of communication with your moderators too. I've got a question on my side. Valerie, which is one of my moderators, says, how should mods address those that ask questions that moderators answer, but they want the answer from you? I would say message me. So you can message or email the creator. I may not always answer because... But
that's true, though. That's true, though. You do have moderators that will answer for you because they know the answer, and the person live has already answered the same question over and over and over again. Just because you showed up as a new watcher doesn't mean that the person going live hasn't already answered it several times. So the moderators help by answering your questions because they know the answer. Moderators have that right. We like when they help us that way. That's the truth. All right, so shipping, friend. Somebody asked shipping. How do you have a company that you recommend? Is there a way to ship that is helpful?
Yeah, I did a video about that too. If anyone's interested in knowing who I use for shipping, you'll need to email me to get that information. I'm not trying to gatekeep or anything. It's a lot of information to talk about. And the easiest way to address that is I used to use Pirate Ship and Parcel Path and Shippo, and there's a monkey one I can't remember, Monkey Ship, or I can't remember. I used to use all of those, but then when my volume started going up, I had to switch to a higher volume shipper. So it may not work for everyone. And it's a service that I do pay for because they come to my house and pick up the packages. Because for me, I was driving to UPS so many times that it wasn't worth my time. So that may not work for you guys. If you're shipping out one wreath a week, that probably won't be worth you paying for that service. But if you're shipping out several, yeah, that's that, and it is a service you pay for. So that's something to know too. Yeah.
But it helps cut on shipping costs, right? It does help cut shipping costs, or no?
It does a little bit. I
Okay.
just started with them about a month ago. So
Okay.
I'm not seeing, I'm giving it time
Okay.
to see
Okay. See,
to see the math.
again, Lindsay just made a point. Give things time before you decide yay or nay. And she's talking about volume shipping. That means how many wreaths would you say that is a week's, if that's volume shipping?
I wasn't given an exact number,
Okay.
but consistent, like several shipments a day. So
Okay.
I would
See? Okay.
minimum of 5 to 10 shipments a week minimum.
So that's my goal. Just so you guys know, if you're wondering, that's my goal. I would like that. I would like to ship out that much. Thank you. All right, moving on. Do you have any other questions on your side, friend?
Yeah.
I have a real talk question.
Kevin, no.
Lunch.
5 minutes.
Thank you.
Kevin, no. I love Kevin. Hey, Kevin.
We all love Kevin, but right now I'm like, guys, don't bother me till 1 o'clock. Look what time it is. It's 14 minutes to 1 o'clock. They couldn't wait. They want to know what I want for lunch. So that is important. So we will be wrapping this up. Everybody says hi, honey. If you want to see more of Kevin, catch Claudia's lives. Just saying. Anyway.
Kelly, who's one of my moderators, said, "Do you like to address the negative Nellies, or do you prefer your mods to block immediately?" I have started to address the negative Nellies so that they can hear my response. Now that may not always be the case. Just to be honest, sometimes people just want to get a rile out of you. But sometimes I will address the things that I think should be addressed so that people in my life know first and foremost that I will address it, that I will protect my client. But that's a situational thing, because sometimes it's just not worth it. Sometimes you just, you don't need to be in my live. You can go somewhere else. And if my moderators block them, I trust my moderators, because I trust them.
Well, here's the thing about mods too, though. They can mute somebody, which means that they can still be in the live and they can still watch, but they can't comment.
Right. For me personally, if someone's going to come into my live and be negative, it tells me they're probably going to do it again. So I just don't need that. I just don't need that. And I choose not to give power to that. They can come into the live again, and they're only muted for that one live. They can come back the next day. So for me, if I see that behavior, it tells me they're going to repeat that behavior. So
Yep.
I've got a question over here. Lynette says, has anyone stolen your design and didn't give you credit? Yeah, Lynette. Yes, that happens quite a bit. But you know what? In all honesty, I think when you get to a point where so many people are watching you, and Lynette, you are such a talented designer. When you get to a point where so many people are watching you, it's gonna happen. I choose to try to take it as a compliment, and while I do wish people would be like, this is not my original design. This was inspired by, Claudia, or this was inspired by Lindsay.
I do that all the time. I give
But
credit where credit's due all the time.
yeah, yeah, but it may not always happen, and we're always also inspired too by others. And whether we know it or not, if we're scrolling on TikTok or we're scrolling on Facebook, subliminally we are seeing designs that we're like, "Ooh, I love that." And we may not intentionally mean to copy something, but we may be like, "Oh, I want to do something like that." And so I think that's a hard one to handle, but I think if you can, when you can, if you're like, okay, I really liked that centerpiece, I want to design a centerpiece, but put my own spin on it. But if something's going to be almost exactly carbon copy, yeah, try to notate, but also understand that, what you put your energy into, is it worth it? And just to continue doing you.
McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's. I mean, you're gonna go where you want. So somebody copying your design doesn't take away from the original. If you see somebody and you're like, huh, that was inspired by this. I know it was because I know where it started. Because I hate to point out the fact that the first time I ever saw the beautiful swags that Lindsay makes was this Lindsay, but I'm seeing them everywhere. And I know they were inspired by her. Just saying.
That's okay. That's okay. That's okay.
That's a compliment. I call Lindsay, and it's going to make her uncomfortable right now, but I do call Lindsay a wreath community celebrity. She just is. She's a celeb in this community. So, it comes with both the negative and the positive, if you think about it. However, what I appreciate about Lindsay's platform is she is true to her word. She promotes joy. You're going to go to her live. You're going to feel good. You're going to feel good in her life. Everybody's happy. Everybody's upbeat. So that's a good place to go. Get inspired. Be in your community. Have me make inappropriate comments that I don't want Lindsay reading because it distracts her. I appreciate you allowing me to partake in your lives because I do enjoy them so much. And I can be off color and laugh at myself, but I don't want you reading my stuff because several people laugh and all of a sudden Lindsay wants to go back and see what I said. Honey, it wasn't meant for you. It was meant for them. And just know that I love you and I appreciate you so, so much. All right. So we've addressed, I think, everything, friend. And look at the time. We did good. We filled 2 hours.
Yeah, I didn't think that was gonna happen. 2 hours is a lot. 2 hours is a lot.
That's what happens. But I appreciate you so, so much, Lindsay. So other than classes, what else can we look forward to from Tarnation Creations in the future?
I'm still working that out. In all honesty, I'm still working that out. But definitely more classes in the future, and hopefully growing more relationships with the partners that I choose to partner with, and really just engaging with you guys and sharing and more joy and positivity.
I adore you. I loved our time together. So I want to ask permission to ask you to join me again in the future to come talk about more things that we see in the community and where people need help and encouragement and their struggles and to learn more. So if you'll join me again, I would totally love that.
I'd be honored. I'd be honored.
Yay.
Thank you.
Yay.
All the folks in my life, if you're not following Claudia, please do so. Please do so.
All right, Lindsay, I need you to tell everybody where they can find you.
Tarnation Creations here on TikTok or Tarnation Creations on Facebook. 2 words spelled exactly like it should be because I'm OCD. And you can email me, tarnationcreations@yahoo.com. Yeah.
And do you have your links? You have your links in your profile, right? So they can definitely go and see where you shop, see the people that you shop from, and all of that kind of stuff. That's all in your bio, yes?
Yeah. I've got the links of my favorite Etsy shops. I've got links of some other favorites that I do use. So yeah. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.
This has been so much fun. Thank you, Lindsay. As always, we will catch you live. Love and adore you, and we will do this again, all right?
Thank you. It'd be an honor. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Bye, beautiful people. We'll see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.